I'm Andrew White. I am one of the co-founders of Nurturing Leadership, along with Mike Nichols. We are about to embark on a new journey where we have our new book that's going to be published in the coming months. We've been working on it since October 2001. Mike came up with the title, How Not to Lead and Negatively Influence People. And he was influenced and I think inspired by a book, written way before 1955. The author is no longer with us, and I think it was called How to Make Friends and Influence People. So I've not actually read that book, and I think you guys deserved, I'm not very good at this. I keep not looking at the camera, and this is the first time I've really spoken in front of a camera. But I think it was important, if this podcast and this company grows, that you can see where we came from. So I'm a teacher. I'm from Manchester, England. I grew up playing basketball. That's how I know Mike. I grew up playing in Manchester. I played at National League for the clubs, Manchester Magic and Manchester Giants, all through the years. I coached from the age of 12, 13. And I think that's really where my leadership started, was coaching younger kids and just being around people and wanting people to thrive. We've come up with a statement, we want people to strive to thrive, or thrive to strive. And if I make mistakes, I'm just not going to restart this video. We're getting used to it, and of doing these types of things. But our journey growing up, I grew up wanting to travel and see the world. I'm a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher in England. That didn't really work out in the way I'd hoped. And I went traveling with my best friend. I was a financial advisor before that, working in a solutions company, helping people with debt. It was good money. I loved talking to people, but it really wasn't for me. And I pursued a dream that I'd wanted since being a teenager. I've wanted to go and see the world, so I came out to Australia with my best friend and went to China and New Zealand, America and Canada. And before that, growing up watching basketball, I went and watched Michael Jordan play. I went and watched all the early stars play. I've always been wanting to go and do and see things, tick things off a list. I've always been kind of goal oriented like that, but always had a long mind as a plan. But I knew what I needed to do in the short game to get my long game, and I think that journey will never end, because I think we'll always play that long game. And so things after I got back from traveling, I met my partner, and I didn't really things weren't going well to become a teacher. I worked in a high school as a cover supervisor, where I was teaching classes but also supporting classes. And because I had the contacts in Australia, I applied to go to a course in Australia. So in 2012, that's exactly what I did. I got accepted and became an international student, which was really scary, jumping over that line, that fear of leaving everybody just like that. All my friends, all my basketball, my family. And it's scary, but the scariness didn't override my purpose. I feel like I've always understood my purpose and what was close to my thoughts and my journey, and where I knew I wanted to be and what I wanted to do in my life and where I wanted to go. And of course, never been easy. It's always had its hurdles, but I've always persevered, but also been hurt and hit down and pulled down. I'm loud, I'm confident, I'm outgoing, I'm a talkative soul that just gets on with everybody. But I see how that doesn't always work for some people, I guess. So I've been in Australia, now it's 2023, I've been in Australia since 2012. I studied here and then I got a job. I worked as a teacher in primary education, and through that period of time I suffered some heartache, with, leadership issues, poor management of a small team, but great leaders at the same time, trying to battle it with me and support me. But I went through what I call, I felt I was targeted, and so I went through 6 months of workplace bullying. I wasn't perfect in all of that, I'm sure, but I didn't feel safe, and I wasn't safe. I still don't have the answers to today of why I went through that. I don't understand still to this day, and I've learned over the last few years particularly to try and move on from that and settle with the fact that I'm never going to understand. But I won't go into the nitty-gritty details, because I don't think that's fair on anybody. I don't want to hurt even the people that I consider bullying me. They might have a completely different perspective, and I think that's super, super important, is having that perspective. I won a National Teacher of the Year award here in 2014, something that I should be very proud of. But the trouble started to happen after that, and all I kept hearing was people, trying to pull you down, or people were jealous, or but I think if anyone really knows who I am, I was actually quite embarrassed to win that award, and I was quite, I don't know, it's just weird, it was icky, it was really, really icky, and I hated the attention. But I know some people, my friends, would laugh and say, no, you love the attention. And I just like to be around people, and I think that gets misconstrued of liking the attention. But at the same time, I think recently I'm starting to learn to be proud of that. Secretly down low, I don't think anyone can hide the fact that they would love to know they've been acknowledged for that, of course. Just when it all then comes onto your face and people are commenting. Yeah, I felt a little hatred and jealousy after that, and again, I don't know if that's the reason why, but I've got nothing else. And then I had to learn with paranoia and live with the paranoia, and anxieties and self-doubt, imposter syndrome, people not, thinking people don't know really what's going on. And then I know a reputation goes over your mind and your head, which led me to, I suppose, leading to writing this book with Mike. We were on the phone, we were going through some tough times at the same time. I had a great opportunity. I'd worked, helped the Secretary of Education here in Victoria in Australia, and it was amazing to be a part of helping him. It was only a small job, but it was something quite insightful, and I felt proud of doing that. And then I helped open a primary school here for the owners of a fashion company, which was really cool. The journey was amazing. I loved what it stood for. It wasn't easy, and unfortunately I left there after a year as well. And in that time, Mike and I was going through a few difficult spaces within ourselves, and we laughed and we made a joke and said, man, we could write a book about this. And because Mike had already wrote a book called Shut Up, you might have seen it on the social media, we decided, he said, well, why don't we? And I think if it wasn't for Mike, I wouldn't have been pushed to go down that line. And so we've written the book, and we're really, really proud of what we've done. We feel like we've given the platform of being a therapeutic process for us. So yes, it's a leadership book, but we wanted this to be something a little bit more than a self-help book. We wanted it to be a book where it'll be a help other book, a help others. And I think that's kind of our main, target, really, because this book is to inspire current and aspiring leaders, and to understand the pitfalls, the rewards and the insights for successful leadership. And we've titled it How Not to Lead and Negatively Influence People, and put the words not and negatively in brackets because we wanted it to look from different angles. We wanted it to be where you can look at it of, hey, this is how you can lead, and this is how you can influence people with your own feels, and not throwing loads of different theories around people that are just different. It's subjective, But you could also read it how not to lead and negatively influence people. Hence why in chapter 1 we've called it the collection, because what we've done is we've gone and collected a bunch of stories from around the world, from real authentic people, and allowed it to be a therapeutic process for them to write their story. And it's probably taken them years. I mean, it took me 8 years to write my 2-page story for the book, and it was therapeutic. People used to say to me, just write your story down, you'll get out. I was like, no, I'm not writing that. No, it feels weird. I'm an open book, I vent anyway, I think that's enough. But it really, really wasn't, because I find myself going over and over and over and over again, and dwelling more and venting more, and never really fixed. So I wrote the story, and oh man, everything just came off my shoulders, and I felt amazing. And then I think it's been therapeutic for Mike. We've been therapeutic for the other 30 odd people that we got stories from, and then we've threaded those stories into our personal development section, our chapter 2, where they've connected the dots and with how this might support that particular scenario. And then leadership chapter, more about understanding what I call the feel of the game. I've spoken for years and connected my game of basketball into leadership or the workplace, calling it the feel of the game. You don't have to be a leader to understand that. You don't have to be in a position of leadership to understand that. You can lead from the middle. Whatever position you are in, you are a leader and can lead from the middle. I've led from the age of 13 years old. I've led from the middle. I've led people who are what would be considered in front of me, maybe my head coach or my boss, my leader at the time. I've led, and I can lead them in by supporting them, offering them a devil's advocate view, offering them guidance, and it's up to them to take on. I think good leaders would take it on, and poor leaders don't, because they have it set in their way. I lead people from the side, people who are on the same level as me. Well, again, I hate to say that, but we consider them on the same level as me. Supporting my teammates, giving them advice. But it's also being supported by listening, holding space for our teammates, our team members, and that's how I lead in that way. And lead from the middle for people who could be considered behind me in the circle, graduate teachers or new employees to the place of work. I try and connect mine to the education system, but you can totally translate this to the corporate world, to the health industry, wherever it may be. Leadership is all about the feel, and I connected and been inspired by somebody called Simon Sinek, who's an American-British public speaker. I think he's coming away from that now, but he talks infinite games versus finite mindset, the short game versus the long game, and having a mindset where you think about the long game. And I've said that for years, and I came across this guy who talks about leaders not understanding the game they're actually in. And that resonates to my saying, the feel of the game. I've been a referee and I've been a coach, and I've always gone off the feel. If the feel's not right, teaching. If the feel's not right in the moment, stand up, take your kids outside, go and do something to balance them, to reflect, bring them back in. But we come across hurdles where we can't do that, and it needs to change, because it's all about the feel of the game. For wherever you are, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a leader, whether you're a CEO of a boss, playing that long game and putting your figures last, putting the people first, building the trust in your teams before worrying about figures, data, whatever you want to call it. And that's what's led us to do the book. And now we're introducing a podcast, which we haven't created a name for yet, but I've got a few guests lined up that we want to interview. And we're going to interview, and the purpose of me interviewing these people is people who have struggled in their journey. They don't have to be leaders, but it'll be people who struggled in their journey, and they've made changes in their life and reflected upon the bad times, reflected on their own poor journeys, and turned it into positive journeys. And I can't wait for you to meet the few that I've got lined up already. I think they're going to be, we've not done the interviews yet, but they're going to be such amazing interviews. I can't wait to get it started. If you guys got some ideas for titles for the podcast, I'd love to hear your ideas. If you even listen to this video, you might not listen to this video 6 months down the track until we've made it, we've really progressed and published these, and we've got some form of followers. But somebody I've looked up to in that regard, again, I only came across like 2 months ago, is Stephen Bartlett, you know, the Diary of the CEO. Incredible. My vision was kind of the podcast was kind of what he's done. But, you know, he's got businesses upon business, got money upon business. I've got no money. We'll be doing it raw, really raw from the beginning, and hopefully we can see it improve. And by the time you come in, we could still be being raw, or we could be with barely any money for cameras and stuff like that, microphones. You might see me with a horrible little thing, and then, or you could be checking and watching this video, and we're way down the track where we've got a camera, some really cool stuff. Like Stephen Bartlett's got 5, I think he's got 8 cameras in his little studio. He spent £42,000 to set up. I only dreamed that we could have something half as good as that. So you might join us right at the beginning, you might join us and watch this video way down the track. We might not even be going, I don't know where it's going to go, but I really, really hope that's where I'm passionate about. I'm really really passionate about getting the message out there. I'm like this video, I'm doing this really raw. I said I was going to clear all the videos until we've got it right, but somebody said, no, keep all the videos. Let the people see how genuine this is. Let the people will see your authenticity of where you've come from, your pain, your desires to make the world a better place in the workplace. I just don't want people to get bullied. I want environments to be created by the leaders, so that people can work at, as Simon says, so people can work at their natural best. And the world will be a happier place. You know, we'll be able to hold space for people so much better, and hold space for the children if you're a teacher, hold space for your colleagues if you're a nurse or whatever it may be, and even as a parent. So I'm really excited about where this journey under nurturing leadership is going to go. We originally started off with Leadership Exposed because we wanted to break up leadership and just expose it in a good way. Some people perceived because of what we'd been through as a negative, and that really wasn't the case. We then changed it to influencing leadership because we wanted to influence leaders, but it wasn't just about influencing leaders, it was about influencing everybody. So we've changed it to nurturing leadership. And we know the word nurturing could have these misconceptions of being soft, but that's not what it's about. Not at all. We're not looking at being soft. It's always going to have uncomfortable conversations when we're at work, having uncomfortable conversations with your partner, or uncomfortable conversations with your friends. It doesn't matter. It's about nurturing and understanding the long game and understanding people, understand connection and relations. And, you know, we're going through a stage now where we're struggling to form deep, meaningful relationships, and I think that needs to change. That we need to go back to how we used to be in a certain way, but have the feels, because the old ways never had the feels. And I feel like if we can have a balance and put them all together, we can make this world a better place. People will work harder, people will work smarter, people will be happy and inspired to go to work every day. And that's where I currently lie. You know, I've stopped teaching. I've taken a step back. I've become a casual teacher, because I'm passionate about teaching. It gives me space for my own mental fitness, and I don't say mental health, but I say mental well-being or mental fitness. And I've done it so I can spend more time with my family, so I'm more present. So I'm more present with them. And yeah, that's where we're currently at. I think Mike and I are really, really excited, and I hope I get the confidence to share this video and put myself out there. My partner said, don't be that guy who's doing it in the car. I said, I only want to do it in the car because I feel like I'll be at my natural self in the car. If I did it at home, people come in, and I don't want that. I feel like I'll be false, staring at a camera. Here's just the iPad on the dashboard. She said, don't be in the car. So I'm going to blur this out, but I'm in the car. But I'm going to blur it out so you can't tell I'm in the car. So that was pretty good advice from her. So I hope you understand and appreciate my authenticity and my rawness from doing this, my insecurity of doing this. I'm really nervous, I'm really scared. I hate looking at myself in the camera, that's why I've not looked at the camera very often. But looking forward to where this can go. I hope you can follow and support us. You know, I think people have struggled and still going to struggle for a while. So I'm hoping nurturing leadership can support everybody out there and give people a different point of view, or just listen, you know. And I want you guys to enjoy who we speak to and understand there's everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through it. And if we can change the leader's perspective, the teamwork perspective, and the people who are struggling and understand and let them understand that they're not on their own. Because when I was going through the hard times, I thought I was on my own, and my body reacted in a way where I would, throw up every morning, and I don't think anyone deserves to go through that. And if people need guidance in their workplace and go deeper, find out what's going on. Just say, hey man, are you okay? Do you want to have a chat? That's all we need to do. And like Simon says at one of his conferences, he says that, it's actually quite embarrassing why he has a job. It's weird because when I set out to do this, actually felt embarrassing why we were doing it a little bit. But there's a platform for it. There's so many. The more I open up about nurturing leadership, and the more people that I've gone to starting to be aware of what I'm doing, what we're doing. There's a place, man. It's everywhere. It is everywhere. I want to change this culture, this toxic culture that we're going through, and change. For me, I'm passionate about changing the education system so we can do all of this properly, effectively. That would be a whole different podcast that we'd do and go into. So, just had some people stare at me going past. So that was good. Anyway, I've spoken for a long time. This is the first big video I've done. I'm hoping the next big videos will be people that I'm speaking to that you can enjoy. I apologise, and speak soon. Take care. Enjoy nurturing leadership.